Hey everybody, welcome to the Night Bite.
Hey everyone, happy Thursday.
Yeah, it is. Always a happy Thursday.
Yeah, it's been kind of a crazy week.
Yeah.
And we were expecting some kind of crazy weather today, so it's kind of missing us. I'm a little bit glad about that.
Yeah, at least the first round.
Yeah. So if you guys are getting rained or snowed on, make sure to, continue to check your ice conditions as you go out because nothing changes that faster than weather coming on top of that. So, some plain snow, doesn't always do that much, but especially with that rain, that really can change things fast, especially for those of us that don't have super thick ice in all those places yet.
Yeah, and for those of you that do have ice that can hold up to it, remember your spikes. Put them on the bottom of your boots again. I know a lot of us like to take them off, but don't fall on your butt. But earlier this week, we had our little bit of a new series start, that Hook, Line, and Striker. That was pretty cool. So that's kind of attributed to kind of the crazy week we've had. But that was fun to talk with
Dave. Wasn't
Yeah, that was fun. So
catching all those walleyes.
Yeah.
Talking about jumping into the pool in a striker suit. That's something that people ask about a lot of times. He had somebody in a youth suit, a child in a youth suit, and then him in the adult suit. He jumps in. You can see the flotation aspects. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
But then straight from there, he takes the jacket off of his striker bibs, and he, even with the bibs being already wet, jumps back into that pool, and you can still see the flotation capability of those bibs, even just with the one piece of the bibs. So that was really, really great to talk to him and especially hear about his firsthand experience and that it's been done in a safe way. It's not necessarily from him going in.
Right. And that'll be the first of many chats with some of the striker staff. So keep an eye on that. See if you see your favorite person to follow, and we'll be talking with them. Speaking of talking with people, though.
Well, before we get to that, because you're like racing ahead tonight with everything, there's a few things going on this weekend and coming up that we'd like to talk about. So, actually this weekend coming up is Free Fishing Weekend, not just in Wisconsin, but in Minnesota.
Yeah.
So if you are in either of those states, or even if you're not, you can be an outer stater and go to those locations and find fish. So, really, this year we're hearing a lot about new people getting onto the ice. We're hearing a lot about people trying out fishing for the first time or whatever. And this is a perfect opportunity for you to bring somebody new out there. So like we're talking about checking out your ice conditions to know that you're going somewhere that's realistic to take people to. But it gives them the opportunity, again, where they don't have to buy that license and they're able to go out and fish with you. So put a few more tip-ups out for yourself as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
What else is this weekend? I'm pretty sure that if you are around Shawano Lake, Operation Tip Up is happening. I know that in the past on the Friday night, they've done a lot of speaking and fundraising opportunities. And to be honest, I don't know how much of that is able to go on this year. So definitely check out. They have a Facebook page. I'm sure that they have an event page. Otherwise, normally a really, really great event that we try to get to.
And they usually have some cool speakers there and stuff. So, like she said, I don't know if the speaking and the fundraiser thing Friday night is going to happen, but they might have something out on the ice. So, if you're in the Shawano area, take a look at that.
And then beyond that, we're going to be looking towards the end of the month. The Ice Junkies have a meet and greet. So we're going to be talking to Ryan Salemi coming up, and we're going to be hearing all about that. And like Josh is saying, we have a few Tuesday nights coming up as well. So if you love watching this show, come and check out the other as well. Yeah,
it's kind of a fun little thing. A little bit less about products and more about highlighting the staff out at Striker. So.
But because this Night Bite can also be about products and all that, we do have some favorite products to bring you tonight. So we are actually here now with Brad from Deep Freeze.
Hey, Brad.
How's it going, guys?
Not too bad.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us a little bit about Deep Freeze.
Sure. So I started Deep Freeze in, it's April of 2012. It's getting to be a long time already. So we first offered products into the ice fishing industry that winter of 2012, 2013. We started off with our one-shot skimmer. So that's sort of what started Deep Freeze. After that, we came out with the blue tips, the tip-up alert. That goes to your smartphone. So you attach it to the tip-up flag. Flag goes up. You get an alert on your smartphone. That was sort of our second product and probably the product that we're most well known for now. In this season, we've also came out with our Auger Adapter that we can talk about more tonight as well. So, we're trying to introduce a new product if we can every couple of years or so. And the more we grow, the more support we get from our customers, the more we will be enabled to bring out new products. So we definitely appreciate all the support, and we look forward to introducing more products in the future. So.
And I love, coming and seeing you guys at the shows. That's something that we weren't able to do this year, but you guys have a really interactive booth.
Yeah.
And so when we're talking about getting new people on the ice, your one-shot skimmer is something that's really fun, especially for youth to go and, run around with the holes, clear out all the slush, so some really great fun products to bring to the ice.
Yes, it seems like every year at St. Paul, we have the clear tube display with the fake ice on top, and it's like, I would say it's 5 to 10 5-year-olds a year just explode the display, but it's fun. So
yeah,
cool. Well, so let's talk a little bit about what you have going on this year.
Sure. So I guess what we can look at first, we'll just show the old tried and true ice skimmer like we had mentioned earlier. Kind of shows the action right on the skimmer. So you go down sideways with the skimmer. Then you open it up, and then when you pick it up, you can clear out all that slush in one scoop. We offer that in 6, 8, and 10-inch models, and it's funny because when we came in 2012, that's really what there was a 6, 8, and 10. They were all the true sizes. Now with all these different electric auger manufacturers, they're making it difficult for us, but we definitely can adjust to that. We cut the sizes down for you, so we have that all on the website. It's labeled clearly, so yeah, that's pose a little difficulty for us, but it's something that we can easily get around. So
okay, so let's stop and talk about that really quickly, because actually I think that I identify a lot with what you're saying, but I think I hear this a lot on like the Facebook forums and stuff. So you're telling me that the one-shot skimmer that everybody knows and loves, that's made for the true size hole, you now also on your website have for those augers that might not be like a true 6, a true 8, a true whatever it is.
Correct. So when we sell the 8-inch skimmer, that's meant for an 8-inch auger. Our OD on that, the outer diameter of the skimmer, is actually 7 5/8 because we allow for that little extra space so you can get it out of the hole. K-drill was really our first difficulty. The 8-inch K-drill, the OD of the hole you drill is 7 1/2 inches. So you can't get a 7 5/8 skimmer down a 7 1/2 inch hole. So that's the first one that we had to adjust. And now, actually, you'll notice that K-drill is no longer an 8-inch K-drill. It's a 7 1/2 inch. And then I believe they also make the 8 1/2 inch this year, too. So, yeah, I think they sort of started to truly call it what it was, which I think it's good for people to know exactly what size of hole they're drilling. So, and it helps us, too, obviously.
Right.
And that is actually, it's hard to not be excited about that because again, this is a product that people know and love, but then all of a sudden to have an auger that you're not sure is going to fit,
yeah,
it's just really exciting to hear.
Yeah,
we definitely get emails of people are excited to go use it. They get it out there and then they got to ram it down the hole,
Yeah.
But no worries. We can take care of it for you. So.
And the reason, again, that is so cool is because in the past, some people had tried to, even like shave down the outside of that, but it is a really durable unit. And so to be able to do that was like, honestly, really, really difficult and sometimes not possible.
Yeah, if you have the right equipment, you can do it, but you're probably better off just having us do it for you. And actually, the way that ice skimmer is designed, it's just lock nuts on the bottom there. So here and then here. So you can easily just order a replacement disc. We mail it to you and you can just put it on yourself. So if you do have an existing one-shot skimmer and you got a different auger, buy a new plate, you're good to go.
Nice.
That is really good to hear. And you'll be hearing from me after the show.
Well, and one of the cool things about the skimmer is it's been showing up on TV shows. Like I've noticed it in the background. And that's a testament to something that's setting a standard in the industry. Kind of when you start to see it on the TV show, they might not talk about it, but when you see that sideways scoop go in the wheelhouse and you pull it out. They don't really talk about it, but it's handy.
Sure. And every year at the St. Paul show, we see tons and tons of these skimmers walking around, and then the next year when we go there, we're like, man, how are we gonna sell skimmers? All these guys have them already.
Yeah.
We continue to sell them. So I think it just speaks to the price level we're at with it. It's $20, so it's an affordable unit for something you use every time you go out. So
Right.
it's a good buy in our opinion.
Very awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome.
So I've noticed that you were talking about your tip up alarms, kind of moving the conversation over.
Yep.
I noticed you had some new stuff with that this year.
We do. So if you look at the alert now, on the bottom of the membrane, it says Max. So that's the new 2020 model. Max is pretty much, well, it's the name of our son too. He came this year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But Max is just basically signifying that this is the strongest Bluetooth module that we've used in blue tips thus far. And it's actually about twice as strong as the next one in line, which was the 2019 Flex transmitter.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like every year these electronics vendors of ours, they come out with new technology. And I think it would be a disservice on our part if we weren't jamming the best stuff in there that we could. That being said, now that we're up to about 1,300 feet from transmitter to phone, we're likely going to stick with the Max for 2021, 2022. And what we're probably going to focus on next season is just app improvements and then maybe small firmware things that we actually do have the ability to connect to this with your phone now. So if there's some small firmware upgrade we want to put on that transmitter, you don't necessarily have to send it in to us. You could do that through the mobile app. We could upgrade you, and then you'd be good to go for that season's change. So that's going to be a nice feature for us.
Yeah, that's very awesome. And I know that I see you on some of the sites, and then on your page, obviously, always doing little updates for certain phones and interacting with your customers that way. So that's really cool to see that personal interaction with you fixing the apps. You're right in there with your guys fixing the app stuff. So
definitely, and that's one thing too. I mean, during the heart of ice fishing season, let's just say that 8-week period where people are really heavy ice fishing, I will answer my phone 24/7 because these people went out and they bought a Cadillac tip-up alert, which is what Blue Tips is. And if they go out there and there's some little hiccup that isn't causing it to work, by God, I want to help them get it working because they're pumped up to use it for the weekend.
Right.
So that's something we pride ourselves in. I mean, you can email, text, call. People will call me at 10 o'clock on a Sunday night and I answer and I think I scare them. So yeah, we always try to stay on top of that. And I think that's one thing that, I didn't realize when we started producing Blue Tips was that, hey, even though we're a small company, we need to perform to the level of these huge companies who are pushing these apps out there that are reliable for people because that's what they expect. So we will always work as hard as we can to fix any bugs in the app. And if there are bugs there, we admit to it and we fix them as fast as we can. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I think that shows even again, like on social media, there's a lot of people that really talk about those Blue Tips and really do love and rely on them. And again, not to keep going back to this, but as far as a product that's really fun to get people out on the ice, the fact that you can kind of set what that alert is on your phone is a really, really fun feature.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, and there's a lot of customization that goes along with that app. You can set different angles. You can set sensitivities. I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff, and Brad could probably talk all night about that stuff. But
yeah, and
that's really cool.
Like I've heard of some people, I think the simplest way to do it, if you're with a group of buddies, say you got 3 guys, 9 tip-ups, each guy gets 3 to his name. Well, the other thing you could do is not necessarily name them at all, but just have your 3 different colors. That way you hear it, but you don't know yet, but you peek out the shack door, oh, it's blue, it's whoever. So there's a bunch of different cool things you can do with it. But yeah, we definitely have introduced some customization into blue tips since when we first started back in 2013 producing them.
So we're kind of mid-conversation about that, and that's okay. We got a question coming in, and I think that this is a perfect question because, some of these basic things that we forget to ask when we're using these products. So do you need the transmitter or just the tips and the app? And what's the range? So kind of two questions there, but.
So I don't know, I don't think we're clear enough with the nomenclature. So I think what he meant to say was receiver.
Right.
And you don't need the receiver. All you really need is the transmitters on the flag, right? And if you test it, where you're going to be in the field, and we always recommend to people, test it before you get out to the lake. That way, when you get to the lake, you have everything figured out. You did it in your driveway. You know the distances it's going to work at. So we always do recommend that. But if you're at the distance where the transmitter reaches just fine to your phone, there's absolutely no reason you need the receiver. Some people use the receiver because they don't want to use their phone. They just want to see a little LED blinking and they want to hear it beep. That's a reason why some people would use the receiver. Other reason, go ahead.
I'm going to jump in there really quick again for people who maybe aren't super familiar with this product. So what this actually looks like, or what this actually comes down to, is that you have the actual blue tip device on the flag on your tip up, like you're saying. And then you have either the alert coming to your phone or you have the alert coming to the receiver. So the thing is that you do have that option. If you use your phone all the time, it's about to die, you can have that receiver as a backup. I imagine that, can you use both?
Yes, you can. So really what the receiver will do too, for the guy who's just using the receiver as a beeper, he doesn't really care, but it's transmitting that signal back out. So what we do in our permanent shack, and this is how we always do it, we have the receiver outside on a PVC pole. We mount it up high so it gets the best reception from that transmitter. The higher you mount it, the longer distance you're going to get. Then what that receiver does is it passes that transmitter signal, goes transmitter to receiver, then receiver to your phone. And if you have a transmitter named, it'll even pass that through. So it's just kind of like a midpoint, a repeater, whatever you'd want to call it. And since you're going such a short distance at that point from the receiver to your phone, it can penetrate aluminum walls, whatever. So
if you're in a hard house or not or whatever, that's all going to be something that's possible.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So if you're not using a repeater, this is how it might work. And you're in an ice castle, you might want to keep your phone up in the windowsill. If you do have that repeater outside, you just have more flexibility as to where you can keep your phone and don't got to be as worried about it.
It's an upgrade to the system.
Correct. Yep.
And so thank you to people who are asking those questions, because especially when those products are used, or, when we talk about them a lot, it's easy to forget some of those steps and explain some of those things. So if there are any questions at any point, just hit us up and we will get them on right away.
Absolutely.
And I'll just interject here really quick. Another question we got today, which is a common question, is do you need service? Because some people are hiking back into these lakes where they might not have reception. You absolutely do not. You could use it on airplane mode, essentially. It's a Bluetooth connection, which does not depend anything whatsoever on network reception. So,
yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Cool.
So the next thing that I was really excited to use this year, I followed all of your live videos in the mornings about you developing your little adapter.
Correct.
And I've been running the Scout for a couple years, and this has been awesome this year. So
what is this called?
Well, it's the Quick Connect, right?
It's the whole system, we would call it the Easy Auger connection system. But what Josh had in his hand there was, I believe he was showing the Quick Chuck. Yep. Now I'll show my drill here. So that gets put in the in the 1/2-inch chuck in your drill. So all of these augers, they require the 1/2-inch brushless drill. So what we put in there is our Quick Chuck, and it's a 7/16 hex, so it fits in there just like your auger would. But you can see, and just think about this, when you're trying to square up a 3 foot long bit, 8-inch diameter, it can be difficult. Like the flats of that auger need to get accurately on the chuck points, or else it's not going to tighten on there as it should.
Mm-hmm.
With our system, we have all you need to tighten in securely is this little quick chuck. Okay, so it's pretty dang simple compared to a 3 foot bit on the end of your auger. Once this guy is put in place, all it is then, and I'll snap off an adapter here, is this. So this one here is for the K-drill. I don't have the K-drill on it, but this is what would go into the K-drill. I'm connected. So it's literally as simple as that. And we make them for all different types of augers. Like Josh said, he uses it with the Razor. We make them for the Light Flight by Strike Master, and then the Eskimo's pistol bit as well. And we are actually today, I don't know how I forgot this, but we just started making one for the Nils as well.
Oh, very cool.
Mm-hmm. So Nils was a challenge because pistol bit, Light Flight, K-drill, Razor, we come in there with the male and plug into the female auger shaft. Nils, if you look at the top of a Nils auger, it's a male. So we got to come over it with a bigger sleeve. So that's definitely a different design. There's more material there, more machining, but it does work well. So
yeah, it's been really awesome. I love just to be able to pop my holes and then break it apart, put the cover on my auger, break it apart, and put it back in the sled. It's a really easy routine to get into, and it saves a whole lot of space. And it's not necessarily that you're taking up less space, but you're able to pack better, which allows you to fish a little bit more efficiently.
And it honestly makes me cringe when you see that four-wheeler with the auger carrier and then your $250 drill hanging off the side of it, driving across a bumpy lake at 25 miles per hour. So, and why do people do that? They do it because it's a pain to connect and disconnect.
Right.
With this system, you take it off in 5 seconds and you're good to go.
Yep.
Well, and even something like at the end of the day, if it, God forbid, is super frozen up from drilling holes, to be able to just like throw it into the bathtub, throw it into the garage, throw it somewhere to defrost. It's much more compact than, having the drill on or having a full-size auger. So that's something that's super, super nice about it.
Correct. Yep. And then we also did introduce, first we just were making the auger adapters. After that, we were getting some requests for ice anchor tools. So this will obviously look familiar to you guys. This is for screwing in your ice anchors, but we put the power groove in that as well. So now after you drill your holes or whatever you want to do first, you can just snap in your ice anchor tool, and you're good to go with that as well. And if you purchase the Easy Auger system for your auger and you already have that quick chuck, there's no need to buy the quick chuck with the anchor tool. All you need is the anchor tool itself. And it'll plug right into that quick chuck.
Yeah, that. It's been really cool. I've been using it all season, for whatever season we've had so far, and I don't have any complaints about it whatsoever.
Yep, and just to be clear, when people think the quick chuck adapter, what my mind goes to is a 1/4-inch Milwaukee, that we're used to using with little drill bits snapping in and out or whatever. We took the time to find the 7/16, so it can withstand that torque that, the torque you use when you're drilling a hole in the ice with your Milwaukee or DeWalt drill or whatever it might be.
Oh yeah, it's beefy.
It is, yep.
Well, and I love how you're showing that the things that you screw in, what are those called? I'm blanking. Yeah, the ice anchors. Yeah. I love that you have that because one of the reasons that people love bringing that drill out is because you have a multi-purpose tool. You can use that even different seasons outside of ice, but when you can bring that in your sled and have one tool that does multi-purposes, that's really, really a great thing.
Yeah.
Yep, and it's just another opportunity, on that 20 below day with the wind whipping across you to keep your gloves on. Like, there's no reason to take your gloves off because the action of pulling that quick connect is much more simple than trying to. especially on the augers with, I'll show you the light flight here. You got that disc on top. So to get your hand in there with a big glove can be difficult when you're chuck tightening it. With this one, it's simple on off. And actually to take it off, what works best is just to keep the auger down. The weight of the auger just kind of pulls itself out. So you just kind of push down on that collar and it comes right off.
Yep. And another nice thing about not having to chuck your drill every time is that this audibly and visibly clicks. So when you snap it on there, you hear it and you see it, the collar pop up, and so then you know it's locked on.
Yep,
So
and then another thing, a pointer that I'll mention too, and it may have worn off on my drill already, but up here at the top, I don't know if we'll be able to see it or not. Yeah, there's a little black line in the center there.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do is on my chuck points in that drill, there's 3 chuck points. When you retract it all the way to put your drill in, or even our 7/16 quick connect, those teeth retract all the way back into the drill, okay? So when you put that auger in there or whatever it might be, you can't really see the chuck teeth, and the chuck teeth coming down on a flat is what makes it secure. If those chuck teeth come down on a round, that's when you drill one hole and the thing comes loose.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do is I put lines on that silver part of the chuck, because now when the chuck teeth retract, I still know exactly where they're at. I put in my quick chuck. As long as that flat of the quick chuck lines up with that Sharpie line, I know that when I tighten it in, that's as tight as it's going to get, because there's nowhere for it to spin. Mm-hmm. That's just a pointer that I've found very helpful when first tightening in that quick chuck.
That's a great tip. We have another question from Mr. Seth. He says, they work great for 6-inch augers, but he's stripped them out punching 8-inch holes. Do these hold up to the torque of an 8-inch bit? And that kind of probably lines up with a little bit what you were just saying with your tip there.
Yes. So we field tested these all last year. I have the 8-inch K drill, which actually, if we kind of want to get a little bit more technical here, the K drill does require more torque out of your drill because it's a chipper blade. So if you looked at a torque curve of that K drill, just before it chips, there's going to be this torque spike. Right after it chips, it'll go down. So it kind of pulsates like that. So you're putting more peak torque on that drill. And with our K drill adapter, now the light flight and the pistol bit, those are more shaver blades. So that's more of a flat torque curve. But all the augers held up in all of our testing. And like I said, that's why we use the 7/16 quick chuck instead of the 1/4 inch. There's just more surface area there on that hex to, I guess, absorb that torque. So yeah, we've never had any problem with it. Our adapters are machined out of stainless steel, so it's very durable material, made in the USA. And actually, those quick chucks are made in the USA as well. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and from what I've heard from you, if you have any trouble with it, call you at 10 o'clock on Sunday.
I'm not going to lie, I'll answer.
Oh my goodness. Awesome. So for, the people who might be just getting introduced to deep freeze or some of your products, how do you follow along to hear about the new things coming out or the tips and tricks for the things that you have now?
Sure. So now that we've kind of slowed down a bit, I'm going to be putting more time into our Facebook page. So that's just /Deep Freeze Fishing on Facebook. We'll try and keep people updated there, especially with like the mobile app stuff when we have new apps coming out or whatever for the Blue Tips product. But honestly, I'll admit, I slacked on social media this winter just because we had a lot of stuff going on with our family moving into a new house. But then just the sales were, and I think it was industry wide. I know personally for deep freeze, it was just insane this winter. So we were busy assembling, packing, getting product out the door as fast as we could. So unfortunately, our social media kind of took a little hit, but we'll be getting back on it now and keeping you guys updated on everything we have. I should mention also that us personally, deepfreezefishing.com, we are sold out of the blue tips right now. Mill Sweep Farm has double packs of the blue tips on sale, I believe, through Saturday for $70, marked down from $80, so that's a good sale. Also carried at Shields and Sportsman's Warehouse as well. So yeah, there's lots of places you can get them. Obviously, the smaller bait shops and stuff will carry them as well. So yeah, I mean, this winter was insane, and it's so interesting to try and kind of predict what's going to happen next winter. I don't have the crystal ball, so I'm not sure, but.
Well, and with that being said, if you are not the person who has deep freeze products or your blue tips yet, make sure to check out your friends because they might have gotten one.
Yeah.
And seeing it on the ice is always the best way to, kind of get into it. So if it is not Facebook, go and look around your local fishing holes.
Right.
Awesome. So we will be talking with you pretty soon, hopefully, because we love using all these things, and I'm going to be calling you for one of those whole scoops. But thanks for meeting with us.
Yeah, thanks, Brett.
No problem. Thank you for having me on.
All right.
Awesome.
Well, you have a good night, and we'll talk to you later.
soon.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, that was fun.
It was fun. I'm really excited to hear that I'm going to be able to clear out my holes with. It just wouldn't fit before, so that's really exciting now. So if you guys are in that same boat, go and check that out.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and it's neat that you can just buy the plate.
Mm-hmm.
So you could, if you have different sized augers, like for your wheelhouse or whatever, then you can just buy the plates and
Switch it out.
Yeah, then you don't have to carry 8 augers or 8 scoops with you.
That was pretty awesome. And like what we talked about, this weekend coming up is free fishing weekend in Wisconsin and Minnesota. So if you, are getting new people on the ice, this is the weekend to do it. Seth, we love you too. And to everybody else who's watching, we love all of you. And thanks for participating and spending the evening with us. So
yeah, thanks guys. So have a great night.
See you next week.